Couple of days ahead of the NHL entry draft, Ryan Rishaug alongside Craig Button here in Vegas. Looking forward to going checking out that sphere when we get a chance. Craig, should be pretty cool. All eyes on Brad Treliving and the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Mitch Marner. That playoff performance really sparked a massive dialogue in and around the Maple Leafs. Many want him traded. Some think just sign him. Not easy to do in terms of the trade. He's got the no move. If you're Brad Treliving and your hands are on this wheel, what's the most practical way to handle it?
I love the word practical because I think you have to bring that in to the equation. Certainly the consternation surrounding Mitch Marner's playoff performance is right there. It's on public display. But Mitch Marner's been a first-team All-Star right wing, a Selke Trophy finalist. He's a very good player, a very strong player in the National Hockey League. Trying to get value back for Mitch Marner is incredibly difficult because, number one, he controls all the moves with respect to his no-move clause, and he's a pending free agent next summer. So what that contract will look like. So when you use the word practical, I think for Brad Treliving, unless the sole objective is to create cap space, I think you have to look at sitting down with Mitch Marner and trying to find a contract that makes sense for Mitch Marner and try to finesse it in this regard, Ryan. See if you can say to Mitch Marner and present to him, listen, we're going to give you your contract, and we're going to try to support you and build this team because we know how good you are. But if we find ourselves in this same position next year that we find ourselves in now, we have to have flexibility to move you. Simple as that.
So you're talking about the no move.
Yeah, I am talking about the no move. So there's a finesse that goes there, but maybe both sides can get what they want. And more importantly, they get an opportunity to show that they're better than they have been in the playoffs.
So, okay, that's an interesting idea. I don't know if Marner and his agent would be open to the idea of signing anything that didn't have a full lock, stock, and loaded no move. But I suppose you never know. The number, though. Where's the number? We've got Austin Matthews sitting where he's at. There's some other deals that'll potentially get done here that maybe set the bar in a few ways, Craig, but where do you think the sweet spot would be?
I think the sweet spot is looking at Elias Pettersson, 11.6 on an 8-year deal. And I think that when you consider what Mitch Marner's done, I think that Elias Pettersson is a very good, strong comparable. So I think the number, I don't think the number is part of the finessing. I think you can come to a reasonable number where everybody's comfortable and go, hey, that is the number. I think that you point out, not that Mitch Marner's camp would be really fully open to giving that flexibility to Brad Treliving, but something to approach and see where it would go. Instead of saying, hey, Mitch, we need you to waive your no move right now, which creates, I think, more friction than what you would like.
As frustrating as his performance was for Leaf fans in the playoffs this year, still point-a-game producer in the playoffs in 2 of the last 3 years. But here's the logic. If you trade Mitch Marner, you rob from Peter to pay Paul, rob from the embarrassment of riches up front to bolster the blue line a little bit. Is that not the step that Brad Treliving needs to figure out how to take this organization through? Bolstering the blue line if it means watering them down a little up front, fundamentally.
Absolutely, Ryan. You watched the impact that Matthias Ekholm had in Edmonton for not just the blue line, but for the entire team. And you look at where the Toronto Maple Leafs find themselves. I know there's a lot of talk about goaltending, finding number 1 goal. They scored 1 goal in Game 7 versus the Boston Bruins. I don't think goaltending was the issue. The blue line needs to be better balanced. They need a blend of not only defending, but being able to get the puck up the ice to those good forwards. And to me, unless that blue line improves, they're not going to have success. So that, to me, has to be priority 1. Priority 2 for Brad Treliving, maybe not priority 3. There's some other areas you always want to work with in your team, but I think the blue line has to become better, and if it doesn't, I think the Maple Leafs are going to have a hard time finding success come playoff.
Yeah, well, Brad Treliving has been comfortable wheeling and dealing at the draft before, especially on his blue line. He's pulled a couple of big deals over his years as general manager, particularly in Calgary there. It was the Dougie Hamilton trade we saw. He did a Noah Hannafin deal as well. So showing up at the draft with the idea to bolster the blue line, nothing new for Brad Treliving, but he's got a couple of big ones, Marner front and center, to deal with first up front.